Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to Nanagyan Foundation on a very special day, which is World International Disability Day. But do we really need that disability to be, how do we look at this disability? But let me tell you, this is just the discomfort which comes with an ability. And today we are going to celebrate that disabilities can do so many things if you only focus on person, if you only focus on the abilities that every individual has. Disabilities as broad spectrum what the world has sensed it has multiple different segments to it. One could be with visual impairment, what could be with physically challenged, intellectually challenged. But today we are going to celebrate this with few important people who have really created a shift, a paradigm shift for a lot of people. I am Romal Surana, founder and director, Nanna Gyan Foundation. Would love to invite you for today's session, which is an eye-opening session for a lot of us. Why it is important? Because we have a family together. They are from Mumbai, and the parents have really worked hard on the children to get them to that stage, which is commendable. Both the children have both the children have autism. They are from autism spectrum. So let me introduce first to our guest, the family, Mr. and Mrs. Brian. Ma'am, can you please spell your name, because I'm not that good with names and I do make mistakes. So I don't want to do it. So please.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting us, and we are glad to share our journey. My name is Janice Rodrigues,
And I'm Brian Rodrigues,
and we are
and
the
we
proud
yes,
parents of Joanne and Bryden Rodrigues.
Absolutely, because when I was going through their the whole resume, the achievements, I was shocked. Not just shocked, but I was in surprise. Wow, how beautifully their journey has been. Both are the world recorders, and they are the deep sea swimmers. Giving you just so the viewers can understand whom are we talking about. Joanne is a cook in competition at all India level, standing first for third consecutive years in which she participated, creating a hat trick. They both represent Special Olympic Bharat. Joanne is a national gold medalist representing Maharashtra in powerlifting. Isn't it amazing? Now she would be representing India in upcoming International Powerlifting by Special Olympics to be held in USA in 2027. When you hear this, that how parents have worked, it's commendable. Now about the Braden, right? If I'm not mistaken with the name,
Bryden.
it's
Braden.
Bryden.
Yes. So Braden is open sea swimmer at state level. 2018 is a winner Guinness World Record for skating. 2019, if I talk about the recent record that he has created, was Guinness Book of World Record for skating in Belgaum, Karnataka 2024. There are n number of awards that he has won for skating, and it's amazing because this journey needs to be recognized. Along with this, we have Vinamrata ma'am. Vinamrata ma'am is a wonderful person whom I know from many years. She is a coordinator for Sundarji's vocational skills. She is also a mother of a special needs child. She has been working, she has trained so many people. So today's the whole program will be divided in a segment where we are going to listen to the story of Brian and his wife, the whole family, how they have worked it. Because at times I feel parents कहीं ना कहीं हिम्मत हार जाते हैं, इसलिए बच्चे आगे नहीं बढ़ पाते. And I'm very happy that we have these two people who are going to share their story. And we have Vinamrata ma'am. She's also going to share that how she has She is helping so many children to be on their feet financially with the help of vocational and pre-vocational training. So we'll start with Mr. Brian. Sir, over to you.
Yes, once again, a very good evening to everyone. And as you rightly said, yes, it's a World Disability Day, but let us not look at the negatives, but rather concentrate on the positives, because
Absolutely.
yes, we all have our negatives, okay? And if we keep thinking about negatives, then we would never move ahead in life. So this is a sole motto, sole principle that we have been working together as a family, not only for us, for what we guide and we talk to n number of parents, that we need to identify the positives of our children, encourage them, and you never know, the sky could be the limit.
Absolutely, I agree with this because each time when we go ahead, what hurdle comes is like when parents are not very sure what to do the future, how much should we invest, which direction we take it. How did you identify that your children are very good in sport?
Uh, you were not audible in between.
I was not audible. Let me ask you the same question. How did you identify that your children are good in sports and you would like to take them to the next level?
Well, now as we see, Joanne has just turned 18 and Braden has just turned 16. Many people look at them as, as wonder kids. They look at them as they have God has blessed them with something very, very unique. Okay. But it's very important to understand, the journey.
So besides, knowing them by the accolades, it is also very important to understand that there's a lot of hard work, dedication, and a lot of sacrifice that is involved. And they are like any other child. I mean, each Joanne and Bryden are like any other children here, whether special or not special. But everybody needs hard work. So what we decided when we seen the excessive energies in them, we said, okay, let's start with sports. Gradually, we started with a very basic thing of just putting them on skates just below our building, in our society. Then gradually they understood, they liked the sport. First is the passion that come across, because when you do something with your passion, it's not a task. It's automatically something that you look forward to.
Same thing with Bryden, for when we enrolled him for swimming. Also, it was just to channelize the excessive energies. There used to be a time when, if there was even a 1 minute silence in the house, that means definitely something has gone wrong in the house. So he was right all around the place, and there were times even because when the diagnosis was there, neither of us knew anything about autism. Okay, so Bryden was so much of energy he had that certain times, we both used to be literally on top of him, but couldn't control him. And there were at times that we would even feel that probably there is some evil spirit come upon him, because we couldn't imagine that a child of 3 years old and we two adults are not able to even contain him. And that is when we started sprinkling holy water on him, thinking that probably the spirit will zap out. That is what we called was all about ignorance.
But
Absolutely.
if we have to talk to parents right now, we would say that that was not his fault. It's mostly never the child's fault. It's always the person on the other side, either the caregiver, the parent who's not able to understand. Because most of our children, they don't know how to manipulate, and they're not doing this on purpose, or they're not doing this that they want to hurt someone, but they're not able to control situations and things which are around them and which is happening with them. There's so many sensory issues, so many things that they were unable to come,
Express
to
themselves,
express or
like,
to communicate to us. So at that point of time, yes, there was a lot of hardship, and there was something there was a big struggle. We are not saying that we had an easy way out. We had our struggles, and every day is a struggle for everyone. But of course, it's much better as you continue, start understanding your children, start understanding and looking at the world from their eyes. That is where we actually understand what is happening with them. Why do they look at things in a different way? Why does our son look at the spinning fans? Why did our daughter, flap her fingers or flap her hands? There was
and here we had not one, but at times, like, we had two lions in the house, roaring from both sides. And when the meltdown used to be there, it used to be from both the sides, because by the time you try to control one child, the other one is watching, because we are a nuclear family. So it
Okay.
used to be very tough.
So
and
as parents,
yeah,
you have
although
seen.
we have
Mhm. Please,
yeah,
please
sorry.
continue.
No, I just want to add on something is we have two children on the spectrum, but both of them are complete opposites. So one is a complete visual learner, the other one is an
Auditory
auditory
seeker.
seeker, and we had like to see to see the world from different eyes.
So
So
that's
every
why
child
that's why
is
we
different.
say, exactly. That's why we say, like, that every child is different. Imagine, like, two children in the same house are very different. Okay, so we cannot, try to compare any of the children on the spectrum. Every child will have their own abilities, every child will have their own challenges, but we need to just pick up what is inspiring for us, pick up what is good in our children, and then we need to give them time, we need to give them exposure, we need to give them opportunities, and that is when the confidence starts building automatically.
So, in this, the whole process when we are talking about understanding the child's potential, okay, one thing, as you said, children being at home melt down together. You all have been through a lot of emotional turmoils, right?
Absolutely.
How did you bounce back to it? Because a lot of parents actually leave it then and there. How did you bounce back? What was the motive of bouncing it back? Because I want the parents to understand that you can't leave the children. You have to bounce back. But what was there? What was the one thing that made you bounce back each time?
Say, having two kids on the spectrum wasn't easy. Okay. And to go back, Joanne and Biden were both born in Dubai. And we left everything when we got the diagnosis of both the kids, and we came down to Mumbai. Okay. So our main intention over here was to bring out something betterment in our children. That was the main focus. So no matter what happens, right now, money has never been a criteria. It was always the betterment of our children. So every time, like, there is something happening, we cannot express in front of our children what we are going through. Sometimes we say, like, that we are even better actors than Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan, because every time anything going wrong, we don't show it on a face, although there is a lot going on within us.
So we say
Absolutely.
like we have to keep a poker face, we have to show them that everything is fine. And at the same time, we have to also understand what they are going through and why this is happening. And coming back to your question is that how do you bounce back? There is there is nothing like you don't have to bounce back. There is no other way out.
There's no
You
choice.
have to do it.
So,
You have
with
to
this
do it. There is
question that you said there is no choice, let me ask Vinamrata ma'am, because she is working day in, day out with children with spectrum, and moreover, she is there with children who are teenagers or in age. So, how does, Vinamrata ma'am, things look like? Because even the children who are typical, they have their own meltdowns. Even I have a teenager, so I know how their behavior changes. Similarly, this behavioral change shift we do see in our children too, who are neurotypical. So how do you deal with them? Because one is there at your home, and rest you deal with everyone at in the school. So how is it? You're on mute. Unmute yourself. Are you not able to unmute yourself, ma'am? Mm, are you?
Yeah,
Huh.
yes.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
completely agree with the Roderick family, whatever they are saying. I've also experienced the same thing. Now, at home, I am having two children. One is neurodiverse, my elder son, and one is neurotypical. She is going teenage stage. But I can say that growing, nurturing neurotypical is very difficult because when I was working with my son who is autistic, I was able to handle him the way I could. But handling a neurotypical teenager is very difficult, it's very challenging for me now. Because I have many challenges time that these are like I have not seen those types of challenges which now neurotypical children are having. So when my son was diagnosed, I started working. Yeah, I felt stupid in the beginning. Never heard about autism, ADHD, Asperger syndrome, but slowly, the way Abhi is saying, there is no way out. We have to do it. So I started with him, and there were many workshops, many things I attended. And at a point, I thought, "Ki, why not apply to other children also?" Because when I was sitting at therapy center, I observed many other parents also. They were not in fitness mode because when a child gets diagnosed, we cannot accept easily. That did not come easily. Yeah. So
I
that
can
was very
understand that.
difficult. Then at that time, at that point, I thought कि I will help other parents also so that they can accept and they can work on their child as early as possible because early intervention is the key.
True. A lot of parents, when we work with early interventions, a lot of people are not ready. Can you, I mean, I want to know from both of you how important the early intervention is when it comes when your children are diagnosed with ASD or something of that sort. Why it is important? Vinamrata ma'am, and then I'll come back to you, Mr. Brian and family.
Yes, for early intervention is always beneficial because the problem is at that time parents not in that experience. It is very difficult when I am in this position. My son is 20 years old, and I am saying that early intervention is that. But at that time, I was struggling. I was moving to another school. I took time to explain, but now the awareness is more. At that time, like 20 years ago, awareness was not there, sensitization was not there. I had never heard about autism, ADHD, so these types of things. But slowly, I started learning these things. So I realized, yes, early intervention is the key, but now the parents started accepting. And till the age of 10, if we can work on different areas in which the child is lagging, for example, speech, for example, for ADL skill, we can
Hmm.
work on that. The child enters, schools, then the child is in the other issues, like he enters puberty, right? So many things happen. Then, of course, if the child is non-verbal, then the child is not able to express, and
Hmm.
certain behavioral issues come. So these things
Absolutely.
happen.
So I am sure you have been through that phase where you recommend, and even we too recommend that it's very important to have early intervention. For Janice and
Ex-
Brian, with two of your children, how did you manage the early intervention? Because you shifted all together from Dubai to Mumbai, right? And
Yes.
how did you manage that? Because first acceptance that our children are on spectrum. It's very difficult for a lot of parents, even today when the awareness is more. 15 years, if you look back, there was no awareness. There were no helping, many helping hands which are there today. But at that point when you started, how did you start with the early interventions, and how does that help you?
Well, to be very frank, and what you rightly said is acceptance. Once you understand and you accept your child, I think half your battle is won.
Hmm.
And then comes early intervention and everything. But the main thing, the key factor or the bull's eye is acceptance.
No, but then also, telling people to accept, it's not easy.
It's not
There,
easy.
there
Yeah.
are various factors. First of all, is both the husband and wife, okay,
Hmm.
blaming each other. Then there will be the parents, the grandparents of either side. There will be the neighbors who are around, okay. All these factors, all these people influence and they bombard so much on the parents, okay, that first of all, rather than comforting, because of the non-understanding about autism and because of the challenges with autism, first of all, the society itself doesn't give support for a parent to come in tune and understand what is going on with the child.
See, I'll tell you our personal journey. When we now also when we talk to parents, we tell them it is completely normal to go under this process of not accepting. It's completely normal because you're new to this world, and there is something which you start saying, why me, why did this happen to me? And it's completely normal also to go into that phase. But the final thing is that somewhere you should know that acceptance has to be a part of your life.
We can't waste time,
You cannot
as to
waste
what
time.
ma'am said, like early intervention. You can't keep wasting time, like no.
Yes. And the initial years they say of a child, like maybe around 5 years or so, are so very crucial, that if the more you take time in acceptance, the more, because we have gone through this is what our advice is, that the more you delay your acceptance, the more everything gets delayed.
Because our kids at that time, they are soft like clay. You
Hmm.
are in a right position to mold them, to give them a direction. The
Hmm.
more our kids grow up, like they set the mind of their own, and then it becomes increasingly difficult to train them to do certain things here,
Like what
Okay.
ma'am said also, when Namrata ma'am said, like when the child is in the younger age and they are in your hands, you can do as much as possible. Because what happens is, now our children are teenagers. Now they expect us to respect their decisions. They expect us to respect their choices, and we should be doing that because this is how the mind works.
it's normal, any child of
Any
that
child.
age for that
And
matter.
Right.
now there's no, we won't say there's not much that you can do. You can do, but not as much as your early years of the child. So this is a real crucial factor that should be considered for parents who are, going or starting their
And work
journey.
work together with the child, okay, not just husband, wife, the extended family. Have a goal in mind, work together. You can't work in isolation, that the mother and father are doing, telling something, someone else is coming and telling something else to do.
Like
You're confusing the child.
if you have a grandparent or someone,
You
everybody
take
should
the
be
in
in the
confidence.
everybody should be on the same page. That's what he's trying to say.
I absolutely agree with that, that everyone has to be on a same page, but it is very difficult for generations to accept. So there's no way out. You have to accept. The early intervention part, we understood it, but what comes it, our children with autism have communication barrier. They can't express themselves nor they can socialize that easily, because that is what the main challenge is. As parents, with two children that you have, how did you manage that people in and around, you know uh, to get them socialized or to interact with them? How did you manage that? Because that's a bigger challenge, because a lot of parents in and around don't accept children who are in spectrum earlier. Now they do accept because there are a lot of awareness programs done. All are working for that. But earlier it was very difficult when a child who's on spectrum who behaves differently was not considered to be normal, or generally the term was mentally retarded. So people used to use those fragile terms which are we are not supposed to use. How did you manage that? Because a lot of parents today are still facing the same thing where the husband blames wife and wife blames husband, and that blame game keeps on going.
Absolutely, because see, now we have got two kids. Both
Hmm.
again, we are saying they are poles apart because Joanne is verbal,
Hmm.
okay, and Braden is still non-verbal. But when we come to communication, Braden communicates his needs much better than Joanne.
Okay.
The stress over here in most of the parents, like no, that our child needs to talk, our child needs to talk, our child needs to talk. Okay, see, there is a lot of muscle coordination. There are a lot of things in the body which eventually, when they work together, that produces speech. Okay, it's not like no, you tell a child to talk, 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 and the child is going to talk like a parrot. Sometimes it is really the child is unable to do it. That is when we need to understand as to what is the alternate means of communication you can give the child to support the child so that he
Mm-hmm.
stays positive that okay, the his parents, the people around him are able to understand. Communication is not only about talking, it's about making the other person understand.
Okay.
Also, another factor I would like to highlight here is most of us say that, how do we teach our children to communicate? But there should also be something, an initiative of how people should communicate with our children.
How we should communicate to our children,
You know,
it cannot be just
Eh,
only a stick always.
yes, it should be both ways. Like they say, you cannot clap with one
Hmm.
hand. You need both the hands. So the communication should be from both sides. And of course, this needs a lot of effort. As parents, we know how to do it. Then we should start educating and advocating for our children so that others can do it. For example, I'll tell you, there was a time we were so frightened to even enter the lift of our building because we knew with our children some behavior might come in. But now with all our our activities and
Provide them exposure.
exposure, we take them for all the events that happen in the society. Everyone will try and communicate with our children. They, when they see them in the lift, they'll ask them, okay, so where is the next competition? When they see us with a suitcase, okay, where are you going? When is your next? So this is what I'm trying to say is communication has to be not only like we teach our children, but we also have to try and advocate and tell the society that you have to also communicate alongside with our children. See, there are till now there is a stigma. Let's be very frank about it. But somewhere we parents or we caregivers or the loved ones of our children have to bridge that gap.
Hmm.
Because see, we always say like that the government or people do not understand our children.
Hmm.
But how much of effort do we, all of us as parents, go out in the open and tell, yes, our child has got this challenge?
Yes.
Unless and until people,
No, no.
people, they will communicate in a much better way. And people are not bad.
Yeah,
They do
there's
not
no,
understand,
it's just situations that are not right sometimes. One small example I'd like to give here, we had taken our daughter to some mall, it was, I don't remember. And they have these candy stall in between the malls, and she went to that guy. I was with her, of course, and she started flapping her hands in excitement that she wants. And that person started looking at her, and then when he saw me with her, he put his head down. So I said, see, if you have a question, please ask me. You want to ask me why she's doing this? Then I started explaining. Then he was saying, ma'am, it's so nice that you're taking our time and telling us, because we also don't know how to, we don't want to insult the child. We don't want to insult you, but we also, for us, it's new. We don't understand. So this is where our role comes, as caregivers, as parents, as even teachers, educators, everyone.
Okay, what about Vinamrata ma'am? Because you deal with so many children and so many parents in school, how are they taking it the same the challenge of communication?
Here, patience. I will always patience and your calmness. You're showing panic to these kids, then they will start taking us for granted and they will not listen. For my students, basically they are 16 plus, 16 to 25 years old, and they are having a lot of aggressions, anxiety, hormone changes are there. They don't want to listen sometimes. They want to do everything on their own. So I have to keep myself calm all that. I cannot show that. I cannot show that I'm angry. So at that time, when they see my calm, they also feel like they are in some comfort zone, comfort area is there. So everything is good. So whenever we are having some aggression also, so then also again moving out, keeping them out, sessions, lot of discussions, providing them lot of distance counseling, it works a lot. And basically, giving them some visual support cards, visual cards, those work like magic. I have experienced the children are now they are self-regulating themselves. I can explain controlling many aggressions in my classroom. I have developed or I have rescue teams. For example, in a class of 20, we are having children who are very aggressive. And whenever they are in some aggression mode, they hit somebody. And at that time, the children who are calm, I have made those teams. So they come for their rescue. It is not rescue who is getting that back. It is for rescue of that child who is anxiety zone. So those
Okay.
two person they come up and then they start handling that anxiety. They move him out, they guide him, breathe in, breathe out, relax. So then when the child is cooled down and they bring him in. So neurodiverse children are helping neurodiverse.
That's so beautifully you said, ma'am. Ki children they themselves come and help their own friends who are having this. So I understand that that's communication is there, but if we aware what Janice said, we need to make aware people that and advocate how to deal with this, how to understand and behave with this children is equally important, and which is the right way we can go about it. One more aspect which is much prevalent is the academics. A lot of children from the spectrum are not that great with academics and they don't fit in the normal school. NIOS is one of the options that a lot of parents look forward to. So, can you give us some highlight about NIOS and the curriculum in gist?
Yes, yes. So when we started the academics, like a child is in at intervention center, then we prepare for school. Once the child is there, EIC or early intervention center for 6 months to 1 year, we take a decision whether the child is ready for school or not. And we take all the other parameters also in mind, like reading skills are also there, fine motor skills are also there along with academics, because we cannot leave our skills for academics.
Hmm.
If we are sending a child to pure academics, for example, if we are starting with grade 1, grade 2, grade 1, then we are working simultaneously on other skills also, which are basically younger ages, fine motor, ADI, and speech,
Okay.
right? So, uh, as the child moves on to grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, if he is able to cope with academics, then very good. And we have to make good independent reading skills also. At least he should be able to take care of his body. He should be able to cook his meals on his own. So
Okay.
this is the first thing. Then second step comes, if the child is not able to cope up with academics, grade 4, grade 5, is not able to reach at the level of grade 3, then we move the child to pure pre-vocational skills. Because
Hmm.
here the child is 11, 12 to 13-year old, and the capacity of the child is not increasing in terms of academics. I'm not telling ADL or B because at that time stage is very crucial because if the child will enter the puberty stage, then it will become very difficult for them. So we move the child and we start pre-vocational school with that child. But we do not leave the academics. We change the academics to functional academics
Okay.
because in pure academics, he was doing all the subjects like social studies, science, everything he was doing. But here, in functional academics, we are working on his comprehension skills and day-to-day basic skills like calendar concept, time concept, money concept, these things. And in
Okay.
pre-vocation, we start teaching them time management, what is the value of punctuality, discipline through different activities. And because we have taken vocational, so we start working on his fine motor skills also because we have to learn some manual skills also.
Okay.
So these are the things. And if the
Like,
child is able to the academics, then definitely he will do the 10th standard from NIOS. And then further he can move to college also and to skills later on. So this is the criteria we follow.
that's great. I mean, you have to understand the child's learning capabilities and then accordingly push, I won't say support the child for academics and all. Now, coming to Janice and Brian, how did you manage your children's education? Because what I saw that Joanne is NIOS 10th. She has completed her 10th, right?
No, she's appearing for her 10th this year. We have just
Oh,
enrolled in the 10th. She has
okay.
completed her A, B levels, etc. Coming down to a question, and as per what Vinamrata ma'am shared, that every child is different. We need to identify. Okay. But we as a family, from the beginning, we have been stressing upon functional learning,
Hmm.
not the typical, how we used to learn or we were told to learn like a bookworm.
Hmm.
There are a lot of things in our current education system which may be overwhelming for our children who are already stressed with a lot of challenges in their head, what we are not able to still figure out.
Hmm.
Why to stress that brain with certain information which probably are not required functionally in a real life?
Hmm.
For example, what we have learned in our schooling, okay, everyone who have learned, lot of things are there which probably we do not use in a practical life.
Hmm.
Okay. When we came across portion in her NOS, Joanne's NOS, like with
Even
terms like
see,
photosynthesis or chlorophyll, or what are the different languages of a computer. Okay, we were overwhelmed to how do I teach her? So we both started building up a garden in our balcony just to understand that, yes, this is how a plant grows up from a seed to these are the leaves, these are the branches to visually make them learn.
Okay.
So functionality is something like, even I do not know what are the different languages of a computer. As long as my child can learn as to how do I start a computer, okay, how do I use the various applications on a computer, I did not know, how a computer is built. So
Okay.
till now, like, for our children, if I want to teach her what did Tatya Tope do in history, it's
Hmm.
not relevant for her. I need to understand what she needs and what is relevant for her in her day-to-day activities.
That's
So
true.
yeah, because we adapt learning based on their requirements, not to stress them. Look at the easier way out, which is going to help them in a real life. If my child is not able to understand that if there is a fire, I need to run.
Hmm.
If he is not able to understand that concept, what is the point of understanding algebra and geometry?
True.
But having said all this, like we have certain advantages and disadvantages. There is a certain curriculum, we have to follow that. So we are very picky of what we actually have to teach Joanne and Bryden. As long as they can, there's no pressure, to be very frank. There's no pressure. If they can do it, they're doing it. Like she'll be doing just 2 subjects this year, and we are okay with that. So, some things are not in our control. Like the curriculum is not in our control. So we have to work
Yeah.
around. So we have to work around it.
But then very important thing what Vinamrata ma'am shared is pre-vocational skills.
Hmm.
What happens, the child keeps growing up, becomes a teenager, becomes an adult, okay? But the parents do not understand the importance of pre-vocational, the concepts about time, money, hygiene, which are very, very important when they reach like, maybe 15, 16 years of age. Parents do not know at this age, बच्चे के साथ अभी क्या करें हम लोग,
Hmm.
and it becomes very difficult at that age like 18, 19 years of age to make them understand how to read a clock or a watch, that this is the right time, this is a waiting period I need to do, I need to wait for my turn. All these things are very important in the growing times. All of a sudden when a child is become an adult, you cannot go back in time and teach and again come back to 18 years. Very
Correct.
important what ma'am said.
So, but from your talk, what I understood, since you travel to countries, since you travel across India, there are certain things that you have developed in your children. Can you name few important things that you have developed in your children so that parents who are there, who children are in from the age group of 10, or below 10, they can also start working at right age. What all skills need to be developed in the children?
So first and foremost is what we would say is ADLs, which is very important.
Can you please spell the full, because acronyms normal people will not understand.
Yeah, these are basically everyday living activities,
Activities.
Perfect. So you say the full
okay,
thing
that
because
we all need to do. Okay, like in the
yes.
you wake up in the morning, you need to brush your teeth, you go to potty. Everyone
Hmm.
does that.
Yeah.
Okay, from morning to night, it is a set pattern of every individual. Okay,
And managing
Absolutely.
your own stuff, like getting up in the morning, folding your own bed sheet, keep making your bedding, all that, like that, all is an ADL activity, which should organically come.
so more
Hmm.
than academics is ADL, I would say. Okay, because at a certain point of time, okay, coming back to the question about what after us.
Hmm.
Okay, now unless and until I teach my kids about ADLs, okay, if I don't teach them, there won't be anyone else who is going to clean the shit of my children. Let us be very frank. So we need to keep them prepared. Okay, it is a challenge. Some kids develop it. Some parents find it very very difficult. But then it has these skills, ADL skills, has to be attained, and at the right age, at the age of 4 to 5 years, like no, if you make them grow together within the family,
Hmm.
every day whatever you are doing, you engage your child in doing the same thing. It becomes a process. You need not, come and tell your child, come sit here, I want to teach you to fold clothes. But then organically, if you are doing it with your children, they pick it up unknowingly. And one fine day you'll come to know that, like both Joanne and Biden, they fold the clothes of the full house. They put the clothes in sets. They keep clothes in the cupboards. So this is nothing like that we need to teach. It comes organically when you slowly engage them in every day from morning to night. You are doing things together. You are not teaching them, but they are learning. And no
Correct.
one, no one likes that. Even Roman, if I come and tell you like you come here, I want to teach you something, you wouldn't like it.
True. So one is ADL skills are very, very important. That has activities of daily life, wherein from how to handle yourself, how to know yourself, how to do your day-to-day activities is very, very important. So parents who are not working on it, please start working on it because it's very crucial, very, very crucial. Later, it will be difficult. Now, coming to the the wonderful part. The children that you have created who are doing fabulous, right? So we see the glorious part of your children's journey, that Guinness World Record, Olympics, when these words come, and people would like to, tag themselves, oh, Guinness World Record, I would like to have a photo with it, or something like that. Coming to that level at every step, today also, how are you preparing your children for future? अभी तो वो आगे एक लेवल पे, आगे की भी जर्नी है. And what Brian said, what after me, is that question, how are you preparing your children for that?
See, the more you realize, that, and you come in terms that this is a limitation. Let's talk frankly. This is a limitation of our children. Okay, they are most of them. I would say, like, they would require constant support. Okay, because every child is different. I would say that some kids may have more challenges, some kids may have less challenges, but then they will require constant support. That we need to understand, and based on that, we need to work with them right from the beginning. We cannot
Hmm.
work till the end. Like, when you hit a wall, you can't do anything. So what we have been trying to do, rather than thinking what after us, we both have been utilizing the time right now, right from the beginning, to make them as independent in whatever they do.
Okay.
And
So,
more importantly, I think be happy individuals. That is more important.
like, for
You
example,
know,
like, as you mentioned, during the COVID period, we taught joint concept of colors, counting, etc. Like, in the kitchen. Okay,
Hmm.
she developed the liking in the kitchen, and she picked up cooking, and she became a cook. Okay, winning 3 cooking competition, 3 consecutive years, etc. Now I know that even if I'm not there, okay,
Hmm.
even if we both are not there, wherever she is, I know that at least 50, 60 chapatis she can make for someone. She'll be a value addition somewhere. No one is going to call her as a liability. क्या मुसीबत छोड़ के गए ये लोग. So let
Oh,
us see, in the corona period, we all knew, like, that everything planned went on for a toss. We
absolutely.
never knew tomorrow what is going to happen. So, yes, there is an uncertain time ahead, but let us work in the time that we have in hand. Make
Hmm.
them independent as much as possible.
In every aspect, I'm sure the way you
Every
have said,
aspect, absolutely.
because the way
and
you
of
said
course,
it now, yes, Janice, please go ahead.
yeah, and of course, as Brian earlier said, that they need support. Sometimes we parents also need to understand that our children have to, there should be a detachment as well. Because unless we do that, they're never going to understand that they have to learn someday to be without us. There has to some parents round the clock they want to keep their child with them, homeschooling, vagara. But that shouldn't be the case. You need to detach from the child, and the child needs to detach from you, and there automatically independence comes. You
Hmm.
know,
That is when we understand that yes, a child is able to do something, a
yes,
child is not able to do something. And when we understand that, okay, let's work on this aspect which we never thought.
yes, support is always required. Maybe rather than support, after some time you do supervision. It's like that. But yes, you know that you are around, or someone who you trust is around, like the school is around, or some coach is around, or something is around. But the main criteria should be independence, and automatically when they do something like our daughter, like, or our son, if they're more than happy to do all the chores of the house. Like, our son does the laundry, Joanne helps in cooking. So if they're automatically happy in this activities, it doesn't become a task, and it is also helping their independence.
Like, for example, last week, Joanne and Bryden went for an overnight picnic with the
Hmm.
school. Okay.
Hmm.
Now, of course, the first time when they went, we had lot of things in our mind, like, karenge, aayenge, what will happen, this, that, all those things. But we said we had a trust in the school, and we said, let them go. Okay. The principal ma'am is good, the teachers are good, everything. And then after the next day when they came back, we knew that yes, our kids can stay without us.
Yes.
one day at least. Okay, so unless and until I would have not let them go, I would always think like they are totally dependent on us.
And this is also very normal for parents to feel so, because there's always a first time. And
Hmm.
as we progress and do it now and then again, you
We will
yourself,
understand,
and even
challenges.
even the children, they start getting confidence among themselves that yes, we can do something what we have never done earlier.
You need to try. Our journey is trial and error. Now, because of this trial and error, now we are so happy that Joanne is going to Gwalior on 10th of this month for
Hmm.
a powerlifting camp
Wow.
for 9 days.
Lovely.
We would
Congratulations.
have never thought of this aspect if I wouldn't have known that one day she can stay out with us,
Without us.
without us.
That's really good. पेरेंट्स ये चीज करना बहुत जरूरी है. इनफैक्ट विनम्रता मैम की भी एक स्कूल कल ओवरनाइट पिकनिक लेके जाने वाली है. सो मैम, हाउ दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम दैट सुंदर जी इज डूइंग समथिंग, राइट?
Yes. So we are
So
very excited that we are taking 20 kids out for overnight. So all the parents are in anxiety, but children are very excited. And I am also very excited because I am doing this.
So, ma'am, what Janice and Brian sir said, like detachment is very, very important. Would like to know from you also that with this detachment, or this question completely haunts a lot of parents, that what after me? They have given their point of view. What would you like to add more on their thought process?
So a few years back, especially during lockdown, we were thinking about this much more, like what after us, what after. But then that was creating a lot of anxiety and stress in us. So we dropped that concept what after us, focusing on present. What best we can do to make our children independent, that we can do, that we can live or do. Don't know what we do.
That's absolutely correct. So now winding up the whole thing, the whole journey that we started with, the reason of taking it because we wanted to celebrate this abilities that's there in every child. And we are very, very happy to have Janice, Brian, and Vinamrata ma'am with us, who talked about all the nuances and all the aspect from early intervention to the glorious part, the mood swings, how they're able to cope up with things, with first-hand experience, what they have gone through with two different children. I am sure, parents, you have these questions in your mind. You will have a lot of things which is going on in your back of the mind, because the age of every child is different, very unique. If you have any questions, please put them in the question box or in the comment. We'll definitely get back to you on that. Uh, any one of us will revert back to you, because we don't find any questions as if for now which has come. So while going through this whole uh, session or webinar that we had celebrating, so kudos to Janice and Brian, who have really worked hard to get their children where they are. So journey is never easy, it's a lot of hard work. When Amrita ma'am, I know Kshitij very well. So he has, I've been working, I won't say working, but I've seen Kshitij in many of our award functions, and the way he plays different things, and how he has grown up with Sundarji's. So a lot of things being seen, and how dedicated Vinamrata ma'am is when it comes to children with spectrum. So going ahead from here, let us take every child with their abilities. Let's not compare our children with anyone else, which is missing, because every child in its own way is unique. Every child is one. Every child is one unique whole piece. So please don't compare. And if you find you require some sort of guidance, please connect with us. We'll connect you with these two and with few experts who can really guide you. So don't be in this haste, or don't get be in that anxiety that ab kaise hoga, kya hoga. there are people who can help you. So on this World International Disability Day, I want to give you a hope that there is no dis, there's only ability. Everyone has to work differently to achieve, to bring out that ability within you. So whether you are a neurotypical or whether you are a typical, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what matters is how we have progressed your journey. Thank you so much, Janice and Brian and Vinamrata ma'am, for joining in. Hope you enjoyed the questions, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to your answers.
Well, thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everybody who's watching and who's listening. And
We
as
need
you
to
said,
have more sessions like this to create awareness, like, to make us being heard, not
and
only the achievements, but the challenges also. It's normal to have challenges. You don't have achievements without challenges.
as you said
Absolutely.
earlier, you can reach out to us as well as to Roman or
Correct.
Vinamrita ma'am, because if you need help, you should ask for it. There is nothing wrong in it, because it can be anything. If you're sick, you go to a doctor, right? So if you're stuck in this journey, there should be an outgo. You should be able to ask someone for help. So we are very, this is our give back to the community. Anybody needs anything, we are always there.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I would also like to tell the same thing that Roman, many questions are there. I would be happy to give my experience, whatever I have handled different type of children. I think I have with hundreds of children. So I think I can provide some strategies to the children. I can help parents. I'm always ready.
Absolutely. So the forum is open. Those who require help, please reach out to us. And as what Brian sir said, we'll be keep having these sessions sooner later in a consequent set of time, so that awareness is also maintained, awareness is also created, yet you understand what challenges are there, so that you don't feel demotivated, because every stepping stone where you move, it's new for you, and those who have already been through there can help you in better way, and people are ready to help you. It's just you have to extend your hand, or you need to ask for help, and help is available. So don't think that you are alone in this journey. We are there to help you in whichever way we can do it. Okay, on this note, thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Bye bye.